Well, I'm joined today by Les Munn, and I'm sat on a beautiful day in his garden, which is looking lovely. Les, it's really good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah.
So, Les, let me just start by asking you where you grew up.
I was born in Dorking in Surrey, I'm told, at number 62 High Street. I could have shared my birthday with Princess Margaret, but she arrived the day after. I guess her birthplace was a bit posher than mine because 62 was a flat over Curry's. Curry's in those days sold prams and bicycles and wind-up gramophones and were nothing as glorious as they are today. I don't know how long we lived in the flat, but one of my grands bought a large house in town, and as a family we went and lived up there. Later on I got a brother, 7 years older. My dad had his own grocer's shop, taken on from Grandad, who was a good grocer, but my dad said not quite the businessman he might have been. He wasn't too big, but during the war we fed 100 families with rations and all the rest of it. Dad, well, I think, would have liked me to have gone into the business, but I went to Radio Tech. I had a technical education and began my engineering career in the workshops of the Dorking Foundry. I enjoy being on the door for Kids & Co in the afternoon. My son-in-law, one of them, says I'm a bouncer for a toddler group. One or two of the children call the church Lizzie's house, which I think is great. Kids & Co is a great outreach. These mums just come. They come as a chance to talk to them about Jesus at the right time and pray for them if they ask for it. So we must get Kids & Co going again. Most Sundays I do the flowers in church and in the entrance, and I really love doing that because I never quite know what flowers I'm going to have to buy and how they're going to look, but they always seem to turn out all right. I like keeping an eye on the quiet room at the church. That's room number 1 upstairs. The prayer and communion service on a Wednesday is a bit special. But I do other things. I lead the Antiques and Collectibles group at the U3A. I've got a fair collection of weights and measures and scales, and a collection of Torquay-ware of pottery. I do like walking, but in the country if I can. Kingston Woolwood's a favourite, walk round the lake. So, yeah, I keep busy. I think, looking back, a series of God-organised steps. When I was 11, I joined St John Cadets. The 3 armed services had their own cadet division, but I thought it'd be better save life than take it. And a couple of my friends joined, and my dad was in the Red Cross. One of the officers, a Mr Knowles, who'd been in the Guards and a sergeant in the London Met Police, he carried his training straight as a ramrod, and his shoes always shone. Anyway, he went to the Baptist church, and near the end of the war, the church started a youth club. So he invited some of us older cadets along, and I went. Classic youth club of those days: billiards and snooker, lemonade and buns. And the lady who did the refreshments, Mrs Monk, one of those stalwarts that every church has. Anyway, one Friday she said, "How about coming along to church on Sunday?" And I thought, well, I'll have to see her next Friday, and I haven't really got an excuse. So I turned up at Junction Road Baptist Church in Dorking, and somehow I don't think I've stopped. going. I was put into junior church, which was run by Mrs. Osborne. Now, she and her husband had been missionaries in Nyassa. Her husband sadly had died, but she now ran this. Nyassa has now got a different name. Look it up on the map, it's near the south of Africa, but Nyassa Lake, the Lake Nyassa, has stayed the same, I think. Anyway, there are about 80 kids in this junior church, which was a room out the back of the church. We sang choruses, some of them with foreign words but English tunes. We had a speaker, and those of us who had a testimony were asked to give it, because Mrs. Osborne was very keen that we should give our hearts to Jesus. She invited me to tea. Looking back, I knew it was contrived. Yeah, it was a lovely tea, but I wasn't going home without making some commitment to Jesus. And so, following her instructions, I said the relevant prayer. She then said, right, now you're a Christian, go home and tell your parents. Sadly, Mum had died, and I didn't tell my Dad. And I think you'll understand that really, I think this was more the beginning of the Lord walking with me than the other way round. But through worship and prayer and Bible study and fellowship, I was in Christian Endeavour, which helped a lot. Suddenly I became aware, yes, he's walking with me. It's the old Emmaus Road experience. So that was that really. I was baptised Boxing Day evening 1947, a little while ago. How do I spend my free time? As things stand, I have to rely on my daughter and son-in-law, only live just round the corner, stone's throw away, to do the shopping. I've got at least 6 neighbours over the road, all a lot younger than me, who have offered they'll do anything, and I did use one of them to go and get a prescription. They're a great bunch. It's a very good neighbourhood. I miss the worship of Sunday morning, but the worship material produced by the leadership, I think it's very good. You realise how much the congregational singing helps with the music, which obviously it must do as we all join in. I like pottering around the town's antique shops. There's one or two. My only worry is that I might have slowed down so much. So will I have the energy to get back and do the things I did before? I think I will. I go to Isaiah 46 and verse 4. Even in your old age and grey hair, which you may see, and I'm longing for a barber, I am he who will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will rescue you. I love the prayers of the very early saints. We all know God be in my head and in my understanding. That was written in the 1500s in the Sarum Breviary. I like Patrick, and yes, I will read to you what I what I say each morning. I bind unto myself today the power of God to hold and lead, his eye to watch, his might to stay, his ear to hearken to my need, the wisdom of my God to teach, his hand to guide, his shield to ward, the word of God to give me speech, his heavenly host to be my guard. Christ be with me, Christ within me, Christ behind me, Christ before me, Christ beside me, Christ to win me, Christ to comfort and restore me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ in quiet, and Christ in danger. Christ in hearts of all that love me. Christ in mouth of friend and stranger. I've extracted that's from St Patrick, who, those of you know, lived 1600 years ago. I copied that from the SBC book of Christian prayer. There's 1,200 prayers in there, and I find that very helpful. I would like to add one last thing.
Yep.
It's going back to when I first turned up at the Dorking Church. I stood outside the entrance and saw these swires and thought, what do I do now? And this girl appeared, who I knew from school, and she said, oh, hello, Money, are you coming in? So I did. James, after his Easter message, told a story of a friend and the friend's wife and the last few words they had together. And it triggered thought. Might I someday hear those words again? Hello, Money? Because you see, the girl was called June, and 6 years later we were married in June 1952. She died 10 years ago of cancer, here at home with me and the children round her. Might I hear those words? Someday. I shall find out. Thank you, Paul.
Bless you, yes, thank you.
It went all right, didn't it?
That was great.
I didn't weave these around too much.